Hello, beautiful people. It's Cinderella. Welcome to the channel. Today we're back again with another video. This is from Valuetainment. The title reads, Evil People Wanted Me Quieted. Epstein victim Virginia unalive after messy situation. Okay, we're gonna check this together. The situation is the S word, which we're not allowed to say here on YouTube. So we're gonna check this together. This is quite interesting. It's been making waves or headwaves on the internet, and yeah, we're gonna check it together. And I love your thoughts in the comments below. Let's dive right in.
Virginia Giuffre, Jeffrey Epstein and Prince Andrew's accuser, dead at 41 by suicide. She who accused Epstein and Prince Andrew of sexual abuse when she was underage died at suicide at 41 near Gabby, Australia, with her family stating, "It is with utterly broken hearts that we announced that Virginia passed away last night at her farm in Western Australia," adding she lost her life to suicide after being a lifelong victim of sexual abuse and sex trafficking. She filed a lawsuit against Prince Andrew in 2021, claiming she was forced to have sex with him 3 times between 1999 and 2002 when she was underage. Allegations he has denied. She was a prominent accuser of Epstein, who died by suicide in 2019 in a New York City jail cell after federal sex trafficking charges, and his girlfriend, Ghislaine Maxwell, who recruited Virginia at 16 years old to work for Epstein. Viva, what do you know about the story?
So the picture on the left is a picture that she posted it to Instagram saying, "I've been involved in a bus accident and I have 5 days to live, renal failure or something." And the internet was looking at it and doing like CGI or AI comparisons and determining that the injury, I was saying it could be, if it's kidney failure, renal failure, you could turn jaundice or whatever. They determined that picture was likely makeup. Within a couple of days, she then takes to publicly post, "Sorry, I posted something private publicly by accident, that being I have 5 days to live." Because what happens, people went into it, looked in and said, there was a minor fender bender somewhere in Australia, a bus hit the back of her car. It makes no sense that she's now saying she's got 5 days to live because of the injuries, because no injuries were reported. Then she comes out publicly and says, "It was intended to be a private message. My excuse, thank
Again?
you." No, just on that, I have 5 days to live. And then a month later, or 3 weeks later, she's dead by suicide. Nothing about this story makes any sense whatsoever, any more than I'm expected to believe that Epstein killed himself. She also previously had tweeted, "If ever I'm not suicidal," although I think whenever someone takes to social media to say that unironically there's something going on, she posted all back, "I'm not suicidal, here you go. Making it publicly known that in no way, shape, or form am I suicidal. I've made this known to my therapist and GP, I think a general practitioner. If something happens to me in the sake of my family, do not let this go away and help me to protect them." Too many evil people. Dude, we were on the cusp of Epstein documents being released, seeing clients on that list.
Exactly. Nothing about this makes sense, and it's quite interesting that we're still even talking about the Jeffrey, the list or whatever, and the victims and them doing some things or suddenly being unalive or whatever, them coming to, it's not making sense. Obviously, that tweet or the talk about the accident and whatnot, something about it needs to be like, people really need to pay close attention. Maybe it's giving like, maybe was she threatened? Was she threatening to take it down or something? Because nothing about, exactly what he said, nothing about this makes sense if you look at it closely or deeply. Because even you all know that lots of people know whatever they must have done. And most importantly, we don't want some particular version or truth or information to be revealed. So, because somebody tweeting or writing that they've got 5 days to live, yeah, people are definitely going to blame it on spiritual attack, drugs, mental illness, and whatever. But have you actually taken the time to take a good look at some situations and be like, why do they always blame this on this? And now the S case, the S word, it makes no sense. It makes no total sense. Why? What does she know?
Virginia Giuffre is the most credible of the last of the living witnesses, the last public of the witnesses. And instead of the release of the documents, we have the death of the most prominent living testament to the horrors of the Epstein, Ghislaine, Prince Andrew, allegedly human trafficking ring. So none of it makes any sense. I don't believe that she took her own life. People can say whether or not she's even dead. If she wants to disappear from the face of the earth, this is how you do it, because maybe she just wants to not deal with this anymore. But I won't believe ever that she deliberately took her life.
I just think this proves the point that some of the most powerful people on the planet are disgusting pedophiles that were all visiting that island, and they are untouchable. Period. End of story. And Ephesians chapter 6, verse 12, Tom says, we're not wrestling with flesh and blood. It's principalities, it's evil people and energy and spirits from high places. And this is what that chapter is talking about. All right. Epstein, suicide, her suicide. None of it adds up. And dead men tell no tales. And in this case, she's not going to tell any tales. Who knows what's going to be coming up and revelations, maybe stuff that she didn't even talk about yet. But when you have everybody gone, I know there's another one mysteriously passed away, Robbie. I forgot her name, but this is just going to show you that how many more of these accidental, suspicious, suicide, hit by a bus. I mean, it's almost comical at this point that nothing is going to be done. None of the victims are ever going to get any justice. Ghislaine Maxwell's going to sit there around. She has all the answers, but for some reason in 22 years, she's going to be released because that's how it's going to work. And zero.
Exactly. So, like, sometimes the powerful people, they know exactly how to control some things and some information. What does she know? What does she know? Maybe she knows too much, she knows enough. And yeah, exactly what he said. Maybe, yeah, exactly what Vin said. Maybe before you know, information will start popping to say, oh, she said this and that, because they want to paint it in the light. Exactly. Dead man tells no tales. So obviously, it's gone, long gone. Now, this is the thing. Like, we live in a world where there are lots of people who are sick, who do sick and vile things and get away with. And you may potentially never know. The truth may never come to light, which is just sad and sick. Trays of lies, piles of lies, evil, and all that. Because her passing or being unalive or whatever by S, is it not meaning source?
The victims, and I believe that these people are possessed and they are freaking demons, and you nailed it. This open border, how many 600,000, how many kids went missing, Rob? I don't remember the number.
300 and change
300 some thousand kids missing because these people don't stop. That's what they do. And that, like, what, just because Epstein Island was shut down, they're going to stop their perversion and their demonic freaking actions? No, it doesn't stop there. And it's
Yes.
disgusting to me that this type of stuff happens. And I'm happy that you brought it up. Nobody else is talking about it. Like, what? This was in the news for 2-3 hours and it was all done. And she even said it. Don't forget about me. Like, let there be justice.
Thoughts?
It's just suspicious. It's just so suspicious.
Yeah.
You know, and that's where I put it. And it's gotten to the point where you're almost not surprised that, you know,
True.
witness goes, witness commits suicide, this disappears, this suddenly shows up. And what kind of blows me away is we live in a day and age of the most advanced technology, the most advanced law enforcement. We are releasing prisoners from prison that were wrongly accused because DNA evidence and technology allows us to go back and find out that they were in fact innocent. We are more certain of crimes than ever before. And we have all this technology, yet certain crimes in plain sight go unprosecuted. And you wonder why Miss Maxwell is in prison and she hasn't had an accident. And it's the old, it's like at the end of the, remember the movie The Firm? At the very end of the movie?
Yeah.
It says, listen, if anything happens to me, just think of a very large boat that is suddenly going to make port with all that information. Remember he tells the two guys?
Tom Cruise.
And they're like, I understand what you're saying. And they left him alone. Why? Because his brother had all the documents and everything. And if something happens to me, so I think Miss Maxwell's got some sort of protection from the Prince of Darkness on high. If something happens, she's going to jail because they can't let her go because you can't do that.
Yes.
But if something happens to her, you know, some organization, Mossad, everybody talks about that connection with Epstein. Maybe this is just like this big checkmate that's out there and everybody else is pawns and people have suicides and things like this. And it disgusts me. It just really disgusts me because we're living in a day and age where we solve more crimes with more certainty than ever before. And your digital fingerprint and footprint is everywhere. They can find your own text messages, everything. And then yet we still keep losing
got a dead man
witnesses.
switch is what she's got.
That's a,
She's
Yeah.
got a dead man switch.
Like if she ends up dead, something gets
oh, she
found.
covered her ass.
But this is where I was
And
going
it's
with
somebody
this.
big and on high that they can't get to that controls that switch.
Well,
Yes.
this is an incredibly sad situation. I feel bad for this woman who was sexually assaulted allegedly, before she was 18, underage, Epstein Island allegedly, and it deserves answers. Where I'm going with this is we can all speculate, but I think the people that want the most answers are her family and her friends around her. They would know a little bit better than us what she was dealing with. Apparently, over the last X amount of years, she was in this car crash, domestic abuse allegations, kidney failure, and she was given apparently X amount of days to
she
live.
said it.
She had an out-of-court settlement with allegedly Prince Andrew. I would love to see what her family has to say because we can get here and speculate and what we want. We understand that, but there's people that are near and dear to her that want answers, and I hope to get it.
She moved to Australia to start a new life, to move away from the trauma, and the last month of her life makes absolutely no sense. But like you're saying, Tom, it would be comedic if it weren't so tragic. Yeah, Epstein's in jail. He killed himself. Like, oh,
The cameras weren't working.
The cameras weren't working. The guards fell asleep, and they expect us to believe it. And it's the level of the depravity that they tell you something that is so laughably
Yes.
unbelievable on its face, and you've got no choice but to believe it. That's the level of power that they wield. Yeah, 2 weeks before she allegedly committed suicide, she was allegedly hit by a truck and allegedly had 5 days to live, and posted that by accident publicly when it was a private message. Like, that makes any sense.
Yeah.
It's a lot of shady stuff going on, it would seem.
Virginia
Exactly. It's a lot of crazy stuff, and nothing about this makes sense. And now we are so used to seeing this as normal that it's starting to sound believable, and people are starting to be like, well, it's nothing to worry about. But nothing about this truly makes sense, if we're being honest, because the fact that there are some people who control chess or play with people's lives and be like, well, they know what is going to go out or come out and what shouldn't be out, is what is not making sense. Like, how we live in a world with vile people who can do vile things and get away with, because they've got the power, they can control this and whatever. But again, talk about the fact that now she is on her life. Exactly, dead man tells no tale. But what is even sick is now that even now, with this information, is still pretty much being controlled, because there are some people that can talk about this and there are some people that can't talk about this because of the fear that um your channel, especially you on YouTube, might also get affected. But again, you just understand that stuff like this is vile, is crazy, and we don't know when this is gonna ever stop. And more keeps coming, keeps happening, which is sick or sickening. But again, I think there's a video where our father was interviewed or something that has gone viral. We're going to check that as well. But let me know what your thoughts are regarding this, obviously. Because even the Epstein's death, unalive or whatever, do you believe that? Do you believe it? Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below. Because, yeah, we're dealing with really, really powerful people that don't want some certain information to get out, or don't want to be pretty much exposed. And most likely it may just stay that way, which is sad, if we're being honest. But again, let me know what you think. Make sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, and all that stuff. And until next time, see you in the next video.